I remember the episode with ABS-CBN, the franchise naman, di ba? And pumasok din po dyan yung oversight, particularly sa usapin na, Congress called on all of these regulatory agencies, NTC, BIR, SEC, lahat. And each one of them was asked, may linabag bang batas? Meron bang rules na violate ang ABS-CBN? Every single one of the regulatory agencies said, under our laws, wala. They were compliant with everything. But to make a long story short, it seemed as if Congress, invoking oversight, said, no, that's not good enough. You have not been implementing things good enough. And we're left with the situation, yes, that Congress has the power, but people are left wondering, wait, where was Congress power supposed to end there when all the regulatory agencies said that hindi, wala namang linabag na batas, and they were compliant with everything?
No, first of all, the extension or the application for the renewal of the franchise of ABS-CBN was not done because of the oversight function. This was because the franchise has to be
renewed.
Has to be examined.
Yeah.
Because it is supposed to be the work of the Franchise and Legislative Committee of the lower house. Ngayon, yung nagsabi na mga agencies na walang nilabag, I think you're referring to the agencies that appeared before the Senate of the Philippines. Parang na-preempt na kami because bago pa namin mapag-usapan yung application ng renewal, the Senate of the Philippines already undertook a particular inquiry where they invited several agencies of government. Of course, those invited initially told the senators na wala ngang paglabag. But that was those particular answers were changed. Nung kami na yung nagtanong sa kanila, napalabas namin, and they qualified that they said that walang paglabag because they were only mentioning several documents. In the final analysis, they admitted that ABS-CBN, there were limitations in the documents that they issued. So lumabas, for example, the BIR, sabi niya, nung naglagay kami ng, let's say, document na walang paglabag dito, we were only mentioning, sabi niya, a specific, meron siyang lugar na sinabi. Sa mga tweet, nung pagbabayad na ng buwis, hindi niya ngayon sinabi na, at tinayuan, na yung kanilang binayad na buwis ay yung totoo. Sabi niya, we will examine again. Sabi ng yun na pangako nila. Even the immigration, even the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, the NTC also admitted that several violations were committed by ABS-CBN. More particularly, yung kanilang mismong franchise, which is a free-to-air, pero bumili sila ng black box, ibinenta nila yung programs, that is directly against their own franchise. Wala silang karapatan pa nung magpalabas ng yung tinatawag nating pay-per-view because at that time, Robbie, wala pa yung conditional access system rules ng NTC. So, but despite the fact na wala pang regulations, inunahan nila because they argue na mas mabilis ang technology kaysa sa batas. Totoo naman yun eh. Hindi makaagapay yung mga batas kasi alam mo naman ang paggawa ng batas, napakamabagal ng proseso ng paggawa ng batas, but technology, isang araw lang, mapapalitan ng technology. But you cannot argue along that point. So, there is this history. The lower house presented I think, I would say, an avalanche of evidence that will prove the multiple violations of ABS-CBN.
Congressman, desisyon na yan eh. But you are closely associated with the shutdown of ABS-CBN. And ngayon na binabanggit din yan dun sa award ng Nobel Peace Prize kay Maria Ressa. They are citing that as an example of suppression of press freedom in the Philippines. Ano po yung masasabi niyo dyan? At saka, are you not worried that it might affect your candidacy for a national position?
I mean, I believe even during the time that this issue was deliberated in Congress last year, na-take up namin that this is not an issue of press freedom. Nagkataon lang na ABS-CBN is also one of the, in fact, it is the biggest communication network in this country. Pero yung mismong franchise is not an issue of press freedom. Pinaliwanag din namin doon, marami rin kaming hindi inapprove na franchise sa amin, several of them. And hindi sila nag-complain because alam nila there were deficiencies also. And they promised to correct all the deficiencies and then reapply. So kung halimbawa yung pagdi-disapprove namin ng franchise is always connected with the let's say press freedom, sabi namin maaring ang gagawin na namin doon parang ministerial na lang. Pagka pinag-uusapan franchise, wala kaming karapatan na mag-disapprove, puro approval because it has something to do with press freedom. But that is not the case. We were not considering the issue of press freedom, but only the special privilege granted by the state, whether or not the applicant is still deserving because of the laws that they violated.
But will you consider, sir, yung proposal and yung thinking ng ibang tao, not just here in the Philippines but all over the world, that there should be a decoupling of franchise, of granting of legislative bodies having to grant franchises to media companies, because it does give a cloud of politics hanging over. I'm not talking about this particular episode with ABS-CBN. We're referring to the situation na matagal na, di ba? That kailangan magdaan sa Kongreso, and let's face it, these are politicians. These are different people who will look at it in different ways. But at the end of the day, you are subjecting a very crucial sector of society, media, that does need a lot of guarantees of freedom and reassurances. Pagkatapos kailangan magdaan sa congressional franchise. Will you consider the argument on that side where people say na, para maiwasan na yung mga ganyan and to ensure the free expression and press freedom guaranteed in our Constitution, maybe we should look at how to take away that system and allow media to just operate as along with its free press.
There is a valid and practical consideration in that argument, Roby. Okay lang yun. The only problem here is we cannot do away still with the constitutional provision.
Yes.
Nandun kasi sa legislative provision ng Congress na talagang mag-uumpisa siya sa lower house.
Yeah.
So we cannot do away with that. But there is a practical issue there. Mukhang maganda naman yun para lang mawala yung partisan, for example, partisan aspect na halimbawa mapolitika pa yan. Okay ako doon sa argument na yon. But we need to make adjustment. We need to amend the constitutional provision in that regard.